Hi everybody, it's Cindy in Oklahoma. And I didn't mean to make a video this quick after the one the other day. So please indulge me. I wanted to share something with you before the whole feeling that I got with this experience left. But I want to start and tell you, indulge me. My husband's name was George. We were married 49 plus years. We were high school sweethearts. He was my aunt and uncle's neighbor. I loved that man dearly. So, from now on, instead of saying hubby, I'm going to say George. So y'all know who I'm talking about. Yesterday, the oddest thing happened to me. Have you ever wondered when you're in the midst of grief or loneliness or depression and you think, if I could just have some peace, if I could just be absent from this feeling for a little while? Well, George was sick during the pandemic, and he spent 2 complete months at separate times, a month ago, in rehab. And it was at a nursing home that is about 25 minutes from my house. That was the closest one. And it was an old U-shaped nursing home like they used to make. 1 story, but the staff was amazing. And on staff, they had a physical and occupational and physical, occupational, what am I missing? There's another one in there. There's a speech therapist. And so they had everything he needed. He liked it. They were wonderful with me. And I would come home. I would go see him. There was a time where the only time I could see him was out his window. But they would come and open the window, even if it was in the winter, enough that he could hear my voice and I could hear his voice. And we would talk a little bit. And then, oops, there goes my dog. She thinks somebody's here. Then I would go home, and sometimes I would call him and we would talk on the phone, but a whole lot, his mind wasn't always good. So a lot of times he wouldn't know how to answer his phone or how to work with it or whatever. So I'd have to call the desk, ask the nurse to go help him. Yesterday, I was very, very, very antsy. Couldn't hold still, climbed the walls. So I decided, well, I'm just going to get one of my diamond art, I call them diamond art puzzles. They're a diamond art painting thing, that you take the little stylus and take the little bitty plastic faceted things and you stick it on, match it by color and number, and eventually you get a picture that's multi-dimensional. And they're kind of pretty. I don't hang them up. I just do them. I thought, well, I'll just sit down and do that for a while. So when George was in the nursing home rehab center, I would come home, and of course it was winter, so the evenings started very early. It got dark, and I'm not really much of a TV watcher, so I listened to a podcast. My favorite podcast, and I love the guy's voice that does it. And I would sit there, and because there was a shortage of masks, I could sew. And I had a lot of cotton fabric. And so I spent hours every day making masks to donate to the hospital. My son runs a center, well, I guess a center, for any better word, for physically and mentally handicapped adults. And so they have a need for a lot of masks and things like that. So I was busy making them for his group and one thing and another. And I would come home and I would sew and I would listen to the podcast. And of course, it would be dark outside. And that became a routine. Well, yesterday I sat down to what I call, my diamond art, my fret work, if y'all know what fret work is, and turned on the podcast and started doing my diamond art. And I started relaxing and settling down. And after probably an hour or so, I stopped. It ran the whole podcast and plus some. And I stopped to get up and get something to drink. And it was like I had been in a void, a time void. It's like I hadn't lived the 3 years since those days of the rehab and his death. It's like I was just whisked away and whisked back to a more peaceful time because he was sick. But he was still here. And that, here we go, that doesn't have to be a loss of an individual. It could be a loss of your home. It could be a loss of a time that was dear to you, But that was the peace that I had been seeking. And when I kind of come out of it, I didn't know how to feel. It was almost supernatural. It was odd. It was a very odd feeling. It's like I had been in a vacuum or a void, and I was kind of in suspended animation, and I wasn't feeling hurt or anxious or sad or lonesome. I was just being. So for all of you today, I hope you find one of those voids, vacuums, status of just being and get a little bit of rest. Because that's what it was. It was rest for my soul. I appreciate you. I am going to be answering your comments. I love you. And God loves you. He's always good. And no matter how bad we hurt, somebody somewhere cares deeply about us. Have a good day. Bye-bye.